Playoffs? We're talking playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. For example, this Saturday, January 11th, the Chargers and the Texans face off in the wild card round. The spread is set at -3 for the Chargers, +3 for the Texans. The money line set at -162 for the Chargers and +136 for the Houston Texans. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to episode 107 of the Tundra Cast. Today, I have Q with me.
Hello.
And, today we are going over the biggest stories in the month of December. And we can get right into it, starting with how bad the Rangers are. They are a bad team. They're below 500. Igor kind of sucks right now. They can't score. They're just a very bad team.
Yeah, it's so it's confusing because everyone was expecting a good season out of the Rangers, and because they're pretty good every single year. And it doesn't help that guys like Filipino was pretty much one of their only positive impact players consistently is out of the lineup right now with an injury. Obviously Shesterkin just started practicing again. They're not exactly in a good spot right now. They're third last in the Eastern Conference, and this is somewhere that no one expected them to be at this point, and they just can't keep the puck out of the net.
And they can't score either. I mean, guys like Laff have not made a big step up. He's only on pace for 48 points this season. Mika Zibanejad has been...
Oh my god, Zibanejad.
Horrible. Horrible.
So... so bad.
He was never, the strongest 5v5 and defensive player before, but, at least the guy was scoring on the power play, but... this season, 2 power play goals, 8 goals in total, 25 points on pace for 50, and, I hate plus minus, but the guy's a -19. He might be a -40 by the end of the year. It's awful. As per usual, their best 2 players, besides Igor, have been Panarin and Fox. They've been just trying to do everything they can to make sure this team wins games, and, I don't know what to say. They just suck. Chris Kreider's fallen off a cliff too. 15 points in 34 games. If there is a positive, Will Cooley's been having a pretty good year as a young rookie. That's the only bright spot, man.
Yep. Yeah, like you mentioned, after Panarin and Fox, you have the other maybe okay ones are Hedo's been good. Miller's been okay, and like I said, Hedo's out, and how do you come back from that when the rest of your team is literally 2 players, 2 very good players?
Yep.
But only 2 players.
Yeah, and there's been rumors that they've been interested in JT Miller, which I don't think is the answer at all, to be honest.
Yeah,
First of all, JT Miller also can't play defense, so he's not really
doesn't
helping you.
help their problem.
Doesn't help their problem, right? Yeah, I. To be fair, I do think they really kind of rushed their rebuild. I mean, they ruined Kako, and now he's gone. He's been having a pretty good season so far in Seattle.
Yep.
Lafreniere, we thought he would be breaking out. He had a great playoffs, and now he's kind of back to his 40, 50-point self. As you said, Filipino, honestly, I love Filipino too. I think he's a great player. He can't stay healthy, and he's out again. And yeah, like there needs to be a major change in New York. I don't think Matt Rempe is the answer, despite
No.
don't know why they keep playing him. Just had like what a 8-game suspension or whatever. So
Yeah, I saw a graphic where he's only played like 20 something games and he's been suspended for 12. That's like that's not a serviceable player.
no, he does nothing. Does nothing on the ice, nothing positive besides hit people in the head.
Genuinely, he's a liability.
Yeah, like I don't know where New York goes from here. I don't think there's one solution to their problem. I think it's a whole organization issue. I I don't think it's Laviolette's fault because he had the same problems under Gallant and he had the same problems under David Quinn. But knowing NHL GMs and how they run things, he's gonna get the blame, just like Jim Montgomery got in Boston. When the issue is the organization and the GM as a whole. So, man, I don't know. I don't know what to expect for the rest of the season because I don't think they'll continue to be this bad, but I don't think they're good enough to get that final wildcard spot despite them being kind of close to it. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know if first of all they're having injury issues with two of their better players, and we're over halfway through the season at this point, and it doesn't look like they are going to be that. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to be turning around anytime soon. But like you said, they have too much talent for it to stay, I think, this bad. But then again, there's something we're going to get to. The East is a I don't know what to call it. It's something unprecedented, really, how close it is. So they still have a chance. If they can squeak into the playoffs, they've done well before.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Gretzky said, it's a whole different season. So yeah, if they can turn it around, they still can fight for it. It's close. They're only like 6 points out right now, or even less than that.
Yeah,
4 points.
4 points.
Yeah, 4 points out. So it's not impossible to make it. It's if they can get back to their usual form, it's honestly likely. But it hinges on getting back to your usual form and then resetting for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a big ask considering what's happening right now.
Yep. And another team that's by the graphic here, 7 points out of a wild card spot somehow, despite being dead last in the East. Buffalo is man. I really thought that they would be good at some point. Like, how are you still bad? How are you still a bad team after 13 years? I don't get it. I mean,
it's unexplained. There's no explanation for it. It doesn't make any sense.
like Darlene's having a sick season. Honestly, like I think let me pull it up here. Yeah, 29 points in 33 games. He's having a really good year. Tage Thompson has almost 20 goals halfway through the year. He's looked like his old self. Jason Zucker has 30 points. Somehow.
Paterka's been solid.
Paterka's been great. Tuck's been great. Byram, Power have been great. Cousins has, kind of taken a step back, but they're scoring, and yet they're dead last in the East, which, I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. No, and I mean, they brought in a defensive-minded coach in Lindy Ruff, and yeah, their goaltending has regressed a lot. I mean, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had a great year last year. He's been kind of, what I wouldn't say bad, but he's been below average this year. And yep. I mean, James Reimer hasn't really given them enough quality starts. He only has one win. Devin Levi is just not ready yet for the NHL. But even then, Like you would think they would at least be 500, but I don't get it. I just don't get how this team year after year after year can be this what's the word I'm looking for? This disjointed.
Yeah, like we're saying, it just doesn't fit with what's happening. Like they're having players that are performing well. And their goalies, like most important players on the ice, they're not amazing, but they're not bad either. So it's it's really confusing as to why they've fallen this far down the table, because that that's not the signs of a bad team. It's the signs of a middling team, and
Yeah.
last in the East is not middling.
No. And I mean, listen, like I do think at some point they will at some point they'll have to make the playoffs. I mean, they still got a deep prospect pool. I mean, Zach Benson's still like what 19 years old. They drafted Constant Helenius, right? But I would be worried if I was a Sabre fan because I think there's a lot of pressure on that management to make the playoffs at some point. And you've seen them already trade guys like Eichel and O'Reilly and Reinhardt, and look where that ended up. They all won Stanley Cups basically the years after they left Buffalo. So, what if they're forced into a big trade where they think Dylan Cousins is struggling and they trade away Dylan Cousins? That might be a move that they regret, and maybe they have to make that move because they're so desperate to get in. And I know they don't want to be patient because I mean, 13
Yeah,
years.
it's been long enough.
Yeah, it's been long enough. And sorry, not 13 years. It's going to be 14 years this year because they're not going to make the playoffs. Even though they look close, they're not going to make the playoffs. Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what Buffalo does at the deadline, where they go after this season. Do you keep Kevin Adams as your GM? I don't know about that. I don't think Lindy Ruff is the answer, obviously. Um, do you make a major trade to shake up the core? I don't know. Um, Similar questions with the Rangers. Like, I mean, the Rangers have no future. At least Buffalo does have a future, but it's just it's just puzzling. Like, you look at the other teams in the East, and we can tie it into the East wild card here. I would say, like you look at other teams in the East. Like, look at Pittsburgh. Right, they're old. Their roster sucks, and yet they're performing better than Buffalo. Look at Montreal. That team reeks. I'm sorry, that team's awful. Their decor is AHL level, and they have what, a few good forwards. They're miles better than Buffalo right now. Even Philly, Philly is a terrible team. Like, they're a really bad team. They're doing better than Buffalo. So I just don't get it. I truly don't get it.
Yeah, it's like all the tools are there for them to be at least a decent team, at least be competitive for the playoffs, but it just doesn't convert for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a culture issue or like like I'm just saying I would not want to be in the front office of Buffalo right now because I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
It's a it's like it's a conundrum. There's nothing. There's no path forward that I can see that would work because over the last 13 years they've already tried everything and none of it seems to work. So I don't know. Maybe that city's just cursed. I don't it. It's not a problem that I want to deal with, but it's fun to watch. Actually, no, I lied. It's not fun anymore. It used to be funny, but now it's
just sad.
It's sad.
Sad. You know what else is sad? Being a New York Islanders fan, who also have no future. Um, can can Lou just retire? You're 85 years old, dude. You're not helping the team anyway. I think their biggest off-season move was Anthony Duclair, Maxime Siplikov from the KH. Buddy, just go retire.
Yeah, it's because he has to sleep more. He doesn't have time to make big moves, and it shows because this team is so stagnant and nothing changes. And just hockey in New York is horrible.
Horrible.
And there's no there's nothing to turn to. You can't even bandwagon onto the other teams because they both suck wherever you are. It's horrible.
He also gave Pierre Engvall an 8-year deal. which is
Yeah,
just so funny.
yeah.
So funny.
It's a classic Lou deal though. But
Yeah, he gave Zaitsev like 7 by 4.5 or whatever, and I freaking
is he
killed
still
Toronto.
on that contract, by the way?
I
I
think
don't
it's I
remember
think
when.
it's done now. I think it
Oh, okay.
ended like last season, but yeah, man. I mean, all the New York teams suck. I don't even know what else to say about the Islanders. Like they're just bad. They can't score. They can't really defend as well as they used to in the Barry Trotz era, and Sorokin has
Goalies aren't great.
yeah, Sorokin's regressed a lot since signing that extension. And yeah, and they have no future. They have no good prospects. They had a good prospect not too rotten, and then they traded away for 30-year-old Bo Horvat on an 8-year deal. So that team's screwed, to be honest, for a while. Like, at least the Rangers have the excuse of, we have Laugh who could still be something. The Islanders are just screwed. So yeah. Um let's go on to the Red Wings now. A bit of a surprise, in my opinion. They fired Derek Lalonde, like, I think on Christmas or like the day
Yeah,
after
around that.
Christmas. And like I still don't think the hiring of McClellan is necessarily the right fit, but they are having a new coach surge, a new coach bump, whatever you want to call it, under him. They are 501 under McClellan since then. Um, they are scoring more. They are defending more. They're getting a bit more saves from Talbot and Lyon, who I think just got injured. And I'm going to guess Ville Husso is going to come up here. But, like, the Red Wings, okay, last season, they weren't great. I know they were 1 point of a playoff spot, but, like, they weren't a good structural team. And especially coming into this year, I feel like a lot of people are overrating them. I mean, you look at that decor, man. I mean, it's what, Ben Sherratt, Jeff Petrie, Eric Gustafson, Justin Holl. Like, it's not a good decor at all. It's just basically
Yeah.
Moritz Seider. And, like, even
Yeah.
their forward core, it's old guys like Tarasenko and Comfer and Kopp and Kane, who's not really that good anymore. It wasn't a great team. It's a very bad team, and yet people still think Steve Yzerman's a good GM, which I don't get.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And like that defensive core, it's an old school core, got big guys, which that's not how the NHL works anymore.
Nope.
And they do have some bright spots. Lucas Raymond's been having a decent season. I think, yeah,
Yeah,
he's having
42
a good
points.
season actually. And I don't know, Alex DeBrinket's been okay. Larkin's been pretty good. But like other than that, it's a big drop off. You can't just rely on three players, especially because those three players are good, but they're not good.
They're not a Matthews. They're not a McDavid. They're not a McKinnon.
Yeah, exactly. You can't carry a team. So, and they need pieces around that. They're just not there. Around on the forward core and the defensive core. After the first pairing or first line, it just drops off. And obviously, goaltending, it's gotten better under
McClellan.
the new coach, as you mentioned, but it's not enough to save the just defensive. I don't know what the word is. The dumpster fire. Not even dumpster fire. It's not that bad because we just talked about the Sabres and Rangers and Islanders, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they do need a big. I mean, they did call Simon Edvinsson, who has been playing pretty well, but they desperately need Axel Sandin, Pelika to pan out here. That's a major prospect on the right hand side in the system. And like they just need their prospects to take a step up here. I mean, Nate Danielson, Marco Kaspar, who hasn't been good at all in the AHL nor in the NHL. That was their eighth overall pick 3 years ago or something like that. If these guys that Yzerman has drafted don't pan out, then they might have to rebuild again. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like this core is young. I mean, Larkin is 28 years old. He's turning 29 in June. He's almost in his 30s. Even DeBrincat is not that young anymore. He just turned 27, right? So
these guys' primes are getting wasted.
Yeah,
and,
they are. 100%. So they really need their prospects to take a step up here in the next year or two. Especially since like I said, these free agent signings Yzerman has done has blown up in their faces. Like Andrew Kopp is like 32 years old, making 5.5 for the next 3 or 2 years,
Yep.
and he's barely on pace for 30 points and 15 goals. Like you're just throwing around massive, massive cap dollars at these aging guys. And, you know, I do get the point that, yes, you want your young kids to play a lot of time in the AHL, but you can also stagnate their growth. You know, too much time in the minors could also lead to them not handling NHL duties. We've seen this a lot. We've seen this with, you know, Jeremy Bracco and Nick Patan. Um,
Yep.
you know, so yeah, like for Detroit, I think it's a crucial next year or two to really integrate your young kids into the lineup and take away some of these veterans. I think it's what the number one thing they actually have to do this offseason is not go after players, promote your young kids instead.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like it's motivation where you see that your management doesn't give a chance to young players unless you turn out to be Lucas Raymond or Morris Sider, which is not a lot of players.
Nope.
That you're just not going to get a chance because old guys keep coming in. Old guys who are underperforming still, but you know you won't get a chance even if you play as well as you can because that's just not the philosophy that front office has. And Iserman, obviously an old school guy, he's shown it in the way he's built pretty much the whole team. And in ways that works out, there's aspects of it which can convert, but if you have a good coach, you take those aspects and apply them to a good team that's modern and fast and skilled, like they can be. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of prospects down there that could come up and change that identity, but it has to be a change that the front office is willing to make first, and that's on Iserman.
Yep, 100%. All right, on to the next topic. Sticking with the East. Yeah, it is a gong show right now. Um, right now, Columbus, as of today, January 8th, has that second wildcard spot. But by points percentage, I'm pretty sure Ottawa technically has it. Um, and yeah, like
Yep.
we alluded to start the podcast, this East is a gong show. Um, I don't know who I really want to get that spot, to be honest. I really want Columbus to, you know, after the whole, you know, Goudreau thing and just how hard that team has been playing after, you know, the Dean Evason hiring. But I think Crosby's last dance, too, would be sick.
Yeah, and I mean Crosby's been amazing. At 38 years old, insane to watch. You want him to get a chance at it. If he gets that second wild card spot, he'd be playing against Ovechkin and the Capitals, which
Oh, that'd be
would be an
sick.
amazing series.
Last time ever,
So
probably. That would be so fun.
it'd be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, it's a good race. The weird thing is, a lot of these teams are not that good. Like
Yeah.
Pittsburgh and Detroit, who are like what 2 points out, or not even like by points percentage, like a couple percent out of the second wild card spot are like they're at 500. They have more losses than they have wins.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah, Pittsburgh's at technically 25 losses if you include the OT. They're 17 and 25 basically, which is insane, and which is why we need a new point system. That's another topic, but like, I hate the current point system in the NHL right now. Make it 3 points for a regulation one.
Yep. I mean, the PWHL has done it,
Yep.
and I like how the PWHL has been run. That's another video too, but yeah, it's you shouldn't have teams that are this bad competing for spots. Well, to be fair, all of the East is like this,
Yeah.
so it's not like it would change that much, but still.
Yeah. Ottawa, I mean, Ottawa had that nice little run in December. A lot of that was Linus Omark just absolutely carrying them, and now he's injured, and now they've kind of fallen back to old Ottawa Center shenanigans. You know, not that great defensively, kind of relying on their offense to carry the load. Montreal, a bit of a surprise. Don't know how the hell they're even in the race. don't get it. I
All
mean, they're
heart.
like 8-2 in their last 10 or something.
Yeah, they're all those players are all heart. I'll give it to them, but I don't think that's gonna last.
And yeah, man, like I don't know how this is gonna end up at all. I'm shocked Tampa's in a wild card spot. How many points are they behind in the Atlantic?
They're behind the Bruins by 1 point, but they have like 5 games in hand.
Tampa has 5 games in hand.
Yeah, Tampa has 5 games in hand.
Jeez.
Both the Bruins and Lightning are a ways away from both,
Toronto,
like
Florida.
both the Leafs and the Florida. So it's pretty clear who the top two teams are going to be.
Yeah.
But everything after that is it's a war zone. Like it's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen this before. It'd ever be this close.
No. I mean, I mean, I would expect Boston to fall back down to a wild card spot, especially with the 5 games in hand thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Boston also isn't a good team. Let's make that clear. They're also a pretty bad team.
Yeah, I mean Tampa's not great either. They've been, it's, I don't know. I mean, age is obviously a part of it. No one beats Father Time except if you're Sidney Crosby or
Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin, apparently. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm happy to see it personally, but it's also kind of, I can see why it would be sad to see two of like the best teams of the last decade start to fall off, and it was inevitable, and it'll probably last a while because neither of those two teams have the greatest prospect pools. So
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens, right? When you win so much, you trade a lot of your picks. And hell, even if you do pick in the first round, it's going to be so late anyways. It's not like it's going to be that impactful of a player. But yeah, that's just the business of winning, right? It's gonna
I don't think
it's gonna happen to Toronto and Edmonton in like 5 to 10 years. Let's be honest here, but like that doesn't matter. You're trying to win with the players you have.
I don't think any Tampa or Boston fan would take back what happened to the last like decade. So
I mean, hell, even Tampa Bay still kicking around somehow. Like, but I mean, if Connor Geeky has honestly shocked me this season. That we'll talk more about players like that when we do our annual surprising disappointing players. But Geeky for a rookie, honestly, who's playing like 4 flying minutes on a Tampa team. 12 points in 37 games at age 20 years old. Like, I think he has a lot of potential for them. But yeah, like you said, I mean, Tampa Bruin fans don't really have anything to complain about because they've won so much. I mean, hell, Tampa had four cup appearances in that time and won 2 of them back to back. So, yeah, just the nature of the league. And speaking about fodder time, we got to talk about this. Alexander Ovechkin, it wasn't really in doubt, but it sure seems like it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen this season. He's 20 goals away from Gretzky. He had such a sick start to the season, got injured, came back, and has still produced at the same rate since getting that injury.
Never missed a beat. So insane.
Sorry, you go. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say he has 36 games to do it faster than Gretzky did.
That's crazy.
Which is completely wild. That's so wild. There's a chance he does it. At the pace he's been scoring, there's a decent. Might be a far shot, but like I think there's a very good chance that he does it. Dylan Strome's been amazing on his line.
Oh yeah,
can't believe he didn't make Team Canada. But that's definitely been helping him out. You can say what you want about his personal life, but he's an amazing hockey player, and he continues to be an amazing hockey player. It's nice to see like this is the generation that me and Shay we grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see that they can still stick around even if it's just like 1 or 2 more years.
I mean, like hell, he's gonna be 40 in September, and the guy's gonna get like 50 goals, which is insane. It sucks because like he'd be there if it weren't for the lockout. He missed the entire 04-05 season because of a lockout. And no, a lot of people don't really know this. He was born 2 days after the draft cutoff. So he kind of missed 2 full NHL seasons right there. And then, 12-13 got a lockout. And then there was some COVID shenanigans. Like, he'd be over 1,000 goals. And, the fact that what you said, that he's close to breaking the record faster than what Gretzky did, is insane, because the era that Ovi played in was so much harder to score. Whereas Gretzky, it was averaging like 4.5 goals a game. Like, it's astonishing. I thought Matthews would have had a chance to break it, but his injury issues, are a problem. Ovi's had the longevity. I think Matthews right now is probably the best scorer in the league. That's not a question. But if Matthews is gonna break it, he needs to stay healthy. And especially this season, it's been worrisome for him. I think that's fair to say.
I think the Leafs have gone the right way about that, where they're trying to make sure that he gets better. They don't want to risk him playing right now. But as for beating the record, he obviously has a talent. I think when it comes to being a goal scorer, Matthews can score from anywhere on the ice. That's like unseen in the NHL. It's insane. But to be able to, the other thing that Ovechkin had was, didn't he have like a crazy Iron Man streak for the longest time?
He did too. Yeah, Ovi. Yeah.
Yeah. Matthews just does not have that. I don't think he's gonna play till he's 40. But so it looks like Ovechkin might be one of a kind for the next 100 years even, and he deserves that. One of the greatest players of all time.
And it's great that we're witnessing it as fans. I know there's a lot of fans like, I don't want him to break the record. Screw that. I wanted him to break the record. I wanted to see a record that most people claimed was unbreakable beaten. We witnessed history, man, and I truly think he's gonna do it this season. Look at the start he's had. He has 19 goals in 24 games. They're playing right now against Vancouver. Wouldn't shock me if he scored again today. No. And I really hope he breaks it, man. I really do. And that's about it. Not a lot of stories have happened in December. Hopefully in the incoming months here, we get some more news. The deadline's in 2 months, so we should see trades start to ramp up here. Some more rumors. Any closing thoughts, Q?
One thing I'll say is I've enjoyed watching hockey a lot this past season. There's a lot of different storylines. Games have been fun. Games have been close. And I don't know what. There's been a lot of little changes that the league has been making to increase goal scoring, to just make the game more fun in general to watch. There's still issues with broadcasting and things like that, but I think the NHL has been doing a good job overall. I think growing the game. One thing I've been noticing a lot is issues with the NBA, which was North America. Is it North America's biggest sports league, or is it at the NFL?
NFL.
Okay, second biggest sports.
Second
league.
biggest for sure.
And they've been struggling a lot lately with just the way that the league has been running, affecting how much numbers they've been getting. And I think recently they've had their lowest ratings and also lowest watcher, I don't know what it is. What's the word?
Retention.
Retention, yeah. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I just should tune in for the last couple of minutes of the game if it's close." And that isn't how it used to be for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been having that problem with the NHL, and that's great to see, because hockey is a great sport. It's my favorite sport. I've loved it for since I even knew what it was. And it's good to see that it's fun for everyone to watch, and the game's still growing.
For sure, I agree there. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, because we only have 2 ratings, so get that up. And we'll be back maybe in a few weeks here. I mentioned we'll do a surprising, disappointing players of the season like we usually tend to do. We'll for sure do a trade deadline stream this year. I know we missed last year, but that was kind of a good thing because nothing happened that day. And we'll see you guys next time.